you guys? It's Numi, and I wanted to come on here because I wanted to make a video about my med school journey. I was asked by someone that follows me on Instagram to share that story, and so I decided what perfect way to share it is here on YouTube because it's such a long story, honestly. But I can kind of make it short because I don't want the video to be long. So, one thing that's always brought up to me is the fact that a lot of people that are interested in knowing my journey tend to be more on the mature side. And when I say mature side, I mean they're usually older than 25, even some as old as 50, that are wanting to change like their life and their career and just wanting to know like what I did and how that transition was. So hopefully this video can be helpful to someone. But before I get started, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. And so yeah, anyway, my med school journey started actually 2 years prior to me starting medical school. So in 2011, I will say that's when I started toiling again with wanting to go to medical school. And it was really because, I had gone through something tragic and I just felt like I needed to be an advocate. And in my opinion, the only way that I could have been an advocate is to pursue becoming a medical doctor. And so once I made that decision, I had to find out everything that was required because I had been out of school for a long time. And, and when I say a long time, greater than 10 years, I had been out of school. And so I, reached out to several people at different institutions just to ask them like what was required. And I was told multiple times that my classes that I had taken would not be valid. So I needed to retake basically all of my science courses. And that's what I did. So I spent a good 2 years basically taking over all of my science courses that I needed to do. And after that, I ended up applying to a master's program at a medical school that offered a master's in clinical science. That master's program was an accelerated program, so you were able to get your master's in 1 year. And so that is what I chose to do. And then after that, actually while I was getting the master's, I was actually pregnant with my son, my youngest son. And, I had to kind of postpone taking my MCAT. So what ended up happening after I had my youngest son, and I do have 4 children, just so you guys know. But after I had my youngest son, I ended up postponing the MCAT maybe about a few months. I would say 3 months. And then I took the MCAT. I only took it one time. I did not get a very high score. And when I say I did not get a very high score, I will just tell you, I got a 500 on the MCAT, and it was a new one. And that is not considered a competitive score. And it was late in the cycle, so I ended up only applying to about 4 DO schools that I felt that I would get in. I ended up getting waitlisted at 2 of the schools, and the other 2 I never really heard from. So during that time of me just waiting and trying to figure out what I was going to do, because I wanted to go to school in the US, I ended up meeting, well, previously I had met several people that had gone to a Caribbean medical school called St. George's University. I really didn't know much about St. George's University at all. I just knew that going to a Caribbean medical school I didn't think was going to be, the best for me. But it just kept happening, running into people that went to St. George's. And when, I got waitlisted on the 2 schools that waitlisted me, I just, started thinking about going to St. George's. And so when the person that delivered my last child actually was a graduate of St. George's, she was an OBGYN, and I ended up talking to her. And, she had a career prior and it was kind of like the same situation like I was in. You know, I was a dietitian and I was just not really satisfied with what I was doing. She was a nurse, not really satisfied with what she was doing. And when she told me like how she did it and the route that she took, I said, you know, why not? So I went ahead and I applied, and I got an interview and I was accepted to the school. And I think the hardest thing for me was, you know, moving my entire family to Grenada, which, you know, when I think about it, not many people are able to do that. And I was very fortunate to be able to move my entire family with me. It was a good experience for my two smaller children, which, you know, being an island person and just, you know, growing up in the States, but, you know, having a Caribbean background, but not being able to really grow up in the island, it's different, you know. But to actually have an opportunity to live there, for me, it was really just refreshing, and I was very thankful and blessed. It was the best experience I would say that I've had in my entire life, and I'm so grateful. And, you know, I made several friends there, and I got close to several people in the 2-year span, and I talk to them every day still. But yeah, I went to St. George's for 2 years, and now I am back in the States. And so I am in the process of completing my clinicals. Unfortunately, of course, things have changed now because we are in, you know, a situation where everything is put on hold. And so I don't know, it's very uncertain about what is happening. But my journey is still the same. I'm still on the same journey of trying to complete my MD degree. And it was definitely a hard task. It's still hard. I think the main things that make it hard for me is the fact that I do have small children. Yes, I do have help, but at this moment I'm homeschooling children and trying to still study and stay up on things because I still have my Step 2 board exams that I have to take. One of them has been postponed for 12 to 18 months, which we're waiting on the accreditation, you know, factor to kind of tell us what we're going to be doing. The other part, it's just a matter of, you know, getting a date and trying to find a testing center that we can, you know, go to and take the exam. Right now I'm scheduled to take it in September, which, you know, is rather late, but everything has been pushed. So I'm kind of just going with the flow of that. Excuse me, being that I didn't really have a high Step 1 score, and I made a video about that, I can put that up here so you guys can see that video. But it's really imperative that I do very well on my next exam because it's a lot riding on it, you know. So you asked me about the journey and how it is when you're older and all that. It's tough, and I think it's tough at any age, you know. It's tougher when you're older because mentally I think you're just in a different space, right? So your mind is different. You may be in a different space. Your energy level is not the same as it was, at least for me, when I was in my 20s. And I am, you know, 20 years older than that. So, you know, I am now in my 40s. So for me, I think it's definitely different. But I keep pushing, and the people that I have around me, they keep pushing me to continue to do. And so, you know, I'm not the highest, I'm not the person that has the highest score on tests at all. And I'm still trying to figure out study strategies, you know. So I mean, it is definitely a journey, but it is doable. And you know, I've heard so many testimonies of people that were in I think so much more of a situation that can be considered to be worse than what I have been in. You know, I've talked to people that have failed STEP multiple times, and they are a practicing physician. I've talked to people that, you know, had their career and then they started medical school. They got kicked out of medical school, and then they had to start back. I mean, so many different stories. So, you know, the journeys that we take are our own journeys, and I think it's definitely good to share all what you go through in your journey, to share with people, at least if it can help someone. Yeah, my journey hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy. And hopefully I'll be able to continue, you know, my clinicals and be able to sit for my boards and graduate on time, so I can come back and tell you guys that I'm now an MD and that I, you know, have successfully gotten a residency. Like, that is now my focus, and, you know, prayerfully it will come to fruition. And so, yeah, I just really wanted to quickly just share that, because I was asked by one of well, I didn't see that she was a follower, but she did ask me the question on Instagram under one of my photos. So I just told her I would make this video. So this video is for you and whoever else that would like to know, like, my journey. So that's basically it. It's been a rough 5 years because that's how long it's taken me to get to this place. But, you know, med school in itself has been just 2 years, and I'm in my 2 full years. I'm actually in my 3rd year now. And that's been, you know, rough, but you just have to put in the time. You have to study. You'll be studying a lot. You know, you have to make sure you have good resources. Make sure that if your school provides resources, test strategy people, use those people, and use those resources, especially if they're helpful, and just try to be as prepared as possible. And if you're able to work simultaneously, fine. I am not, so that went out the window. I don't even encourage it, to be honest. This is your full-time job. But anyway, if you guys have any more questions, please leave them down below. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.